second to
Let's go.
get it prepared while I remember to hit start recording at the start this time.
Myriacast episode 2, Dungeons and Platinum Dragons. Okay.
Of course, Platinum Dragons.
I mean, I'm gonna have to
Platinum
explain.
Dragon.
I'm gonna have to explain the
Absolutely
Platinum
you are.
Dragon
And
thing.
with
Let's
that,
say, yeah.
hello everybody once again for the second episode of the Myriathon in 2018. I am still here as your host, Dashman27. This time not with one, not two, but 3 guests this time. I've upgraded
Wow.
double the people from last time. Back once again is my co-host Aaron, the Jedi Pikachu.
Hello. Yeah, I actually got off work at a decent hour.
It's a miracle, right?
PogChamp.
Actually, yes, it is.
In addition to that, in the bottom right, you'll see a semi-familiar face we've had on before, Spoon, SPT Spoon.
Hey.
And then on the bottom left is a personal friend of mine that I phoned in for this episode, Mason, as I will refer to him.
Hello.
Or Epic Ishiku, or however you say it, because I always pronounce it wrong.
It's
But I just go with
either
Mason.
Epic or Mason. It's
Mason
fine.
works. But I did phone him in because we are talking about nothing other than Dungeons and Dragons today. And with that, I think we just dive right into it. I am still relatively green with it, but Spoon and Mason, I believe you guys are probably the most experienced here.
Yeah, I've been playing the game for 5-6 years now.
Jeez, wow.
Yeah,
I know I've been playing since since a little bit before 5e came out. So
Yeah, I started in
All right, boys, get the cane out.
yeah, I started in my senior year of college, which was 2011, and we played 4th edition back then. A friend of ours introduced us to it, and we took to it. And then after college, I didn't play for a few years, and picked it up again probably 3 years ago or so with using Roll20 with my same group of college friends. Pretty much, not everyone was in it, but yeah. So
4th edition, that's something I don't hear very often anymore.
that's where I started too. Was 4th edition.
4th
wow.
edition was a thing.
Oh, that was the most broken garbage, and I loved it. I loved every second of it.
So Aaron, you are probably the newest. Are you? Is your only campaign Abandons?
Right now, my only campaign's Abandoned.
That the first one you ever done as well?
No, the first one I've ever done was I had just graduated from high school, and a bunch of like high school friends and I got together, and we started doing like a campaign, 5e. So far I've done like a few Pathfinder campaigns, and then I'm also doing the 5e with Abandons as well. So
dang, I am the greeniest one out of everybody.
you are the greeniest one.
I am brand new. I've only done 3 campaigns, all of which are currently active because they're all relatively recent. I believe Spoons was the first one I've ever done because it started around a year ago. Yeah, he just randomly popped in and it's kind of like, hey, I'm starting a campaign for Dungeons and Dragons. Are you guys interested? It's Kingdom Hearts related. And me and Blue, Boone was the DM, Auto joined, Abandon joined, and one of Blue's friend is also in there. I think that's it, right?
Raffle.
And Raffle, right? Another Blue's friend.
Is yours the Kingdom Hearts themed one, or is that?
Yes, that is his.
Completely homebrew. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds cool.
I mean, it's not completely. It's 5e based, and then I threw a lot of Kingdom Hearts characters in it.
Okay,
but
cool.
The mechanics are all 5th edition. So.
Okay, cool.
You guys have probably played characters all across the board, then. I'm assuming.
I've played. There are a few classes that I have not played. Like I haven't played sorcerer, wizard, or fighter, but every other class I've played.
What about like subclassing? Have you just like dabbled in them before, or you just never even touched them?
I've played almost every subclass of everything that I've played.
Or rather, I meant multi-classing as well. You just never touched fighter.
I have never actually multi-classed. I am multi-classing in one of my current campaigns right now.
Multi-classing is very fun, especially from like a role-playing standpoint, and sometimes an OP standpoint if you want to make your character extremely powered. But
yeah, that's the plan for this current character. But I'll get to that later.
It depends. There are some like multi-classes that are definitely really powerful and arguably OP, I would think. But I feel like it depends what you're playing. Like Ranger Rogue is a very good combination.
Oh my god, don't I know it?
So I might as well get into this now. The one that I'm about to do is a Horizon Walker, which is one of the new Xanathar
Yep.
subclasses for
Mhm.
Ranger.
Yeah.
And an Assassin for Rogue.
Yeah, that's the usual combo.
Because
Because Rogue is the best by default.
Horizon Walker
Assassin.
gives you Horizon Walker with the alert feat gives you a lot of initiative, and Assassin basically says if you hit something first in a turn, you crit.
Well, first in a
So,
combat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first in combat. So you're just killing everything immediately.
Actually,
Great.
OP. Yeah.
It's done.
I mean, the thing that sounds excellent, but I think like the baseline thing that makes Ranger Rogue so good is like, so Ranger's great, and I guess you can play a melee Ranger, but most Rangers are gonna play like
A Ranger.
bow
Yeah.
or like actual using range with like Hunter's Mark. But the thing that like really makes it good for me is the level 2 ability with Rogue, which allows you to disengage as a bonus action.
Yep.
So if something
I-
gets in your face, you can just be like, nope, I'm out.
See-
See
Yep,
ya. See ya.
exactly.
As someone who currently
Run.
plays that class in your campaign soon, where I'm literally level 5 Ranger, level 2 Rogue currently, soon to be level 3, I
Oh, man.
believe.
Jeez.
If not already. But what I think is OP about it is the amount of dice I get to roll is actually insane. On
Yep.
top of that, if I ever crit and get to double the dice, it basically doubles the damage because you're rolling. I think it's like 2d8 for a hit, or like a d8 for a hit,
Yeah,
plus modifiers.
One d8
Plus-
longbow.
Plus, I went like the archetype, which is the hunter. So I get Hunter's Mark, which is a d6, plus Colossus Slayer, which is a d8,
One
Jeez.
d8.
plus
Sneak
Sneak
attack,
Attack because I'm a
1d6.
rogue, which is another d6, soon to be 2d6 when I get level 3 rogue.
3 Rogue, yeah.
On top of that, you get Sharpshooter feat, which
Yeah. Also, that feat is that feat is
That is the
actually
most-
broken.
That is a super broken feat because Rangers will always hit.
yeah,
So you
They
could actually
always-
kill an enemy probably in
I've
one turn.
I've literally
with
yeah.
all the
Yeah.
rolls.
I literally had at least at least one or two of the bosses Spoon has put in that campaign that I literally probably half health in one hit because I'd crit
Oh,
every time.
Ooh, yeah. Might
I-
have to
I've-
write in some heavier bosses there.
Oh yeah. I've had it where as a rogue, I was able to solo a boss on turn 1 at level 6 that was like a challenge rating like 10 or something.
Oh my
Jeez.
gosh.
Ooh.
Because I crit it. I crit it and
yeah.
I had I rolled max on everything.
Oh my
So it just
gosh.
Wow.
I was like, I'm going to kill all
All
of
right,
you. No, you're not.
155 damage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was something crazy. It was amazing.
How do you want to do this? I guess.
Yeah. No, Dodge in the Kingdom Hearts campaign had a like
I would
Yeah,
crit in
a
every
couple
important situation ever.
yeah, couple times in boss fights, and other times I was just like, it was just a normal like combat. There were maybe some beefy challenging enemy. I'm like, yeah, this enemy has like I don't know 120 health, and Dodge like fires one arrow, does like 60 damage. I'm like,
Fires one arrow. Yeah, Spoon, can I make that a sharpshooter on the shot? Sure, go ahead. Natural 20. All right, dice. 86 damage. You're level 5, Dadge. I know.
Please stop.
But diving into that campaign, one of the things I had a knack for, because this, in case you can't tell already, this session is probably just gonna be a lot of storytelling and
yeah.
a lot of fun things. But one of the things my character had the knack for was I would get the last hit on enemies every single time we got into
Mhm.
combat. And now you might be thinking, Dad, it's ridiculous. Of course you never got it every time. But I swear Divine Intervention would come down on the dice to get me the last hit. I remember once where I shot a guy, did like 40 damage, put him critical, went through the entire turn order, and everybody missed so I could finish him.
That happened.
It
Wow.
happened. And everyone's just like, no, please
I
kill
just-
him.
Guys, there's like 6 party members. I just need one of you to hit him.
Actually
Nope,
hit him,
looks like
yeah.
Dodge is gonna get it again.
And the best part is I'd be cocky about it too. I'd be like, I'll throw a dagger with sharpshooter for the last hit. How do you want to do it? Because you can do that. You can throw daggers with sharpshooter and do it twice.
Any ranged weapon.
Any ranged
Which
attack.
also means you could attack 3 times with 3 daggers with 3 sharpshooter hits
Yep. Oh, that's
Yeah, no.
great.
Ooh, wow.
when you get the extra
Sharpshooter-
attack.
If you
Sharp-
ever play a ranged weapon class, sharpshooter is a must.
You
At
take a
level
sharpshooter
4
at your level 3.
4, you take sharpshooter. That is
I
Yeah.
feel like
like
so. I'd like to say I think there are exactly 3 broken feats in 5e:
okay.
alert, sharpshooter, and savage attacker.
Cannot be surprised.
Yeah.
Alert's yeah, you're right. Alert's dumb too.
Alert is dumb because the +5 to initiative automatically.
And you can never be surprised.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, someone's coming in to try and like ambush our group. Fucking no. Ooh, shoot.
One of my current characters
That's
actually
fine.
has alert, and I
Oh
constantly
my
make
god.
the joke. I was like, but I can't be surprised.
We'll,
'Cause-
we'll just be in the middle of like something. Like you know, she can't be surprised by that, right?
Yeah, and I'm just sitting there like shrugging. Like,
Just like, whoops, sorry.
yep, casually role playing, but I can't be surprised by anything.
So
I have these special eyes.
Yep.
So going back into like how we all started, like for example, Mason, how did you like first start D&D? You said it was like a long while ago with like 4.
So, the first session I played was a couple of friends, and his one of my friends' dads was like he had played D&D before, and he had the 4E books, and we went through it and played like 2 sessions of 4E, and we stopped because I broke the game. Because there's a way in 4E that you can just not die at level 1.
That sounds. Ooh.
I don't remember a lot of. I mean, I remember some things about 4E, but not a lot of specifics like that. So
You know what's
Please do
bad when
tell.
you soft lock like D&D.
Well, so what you can do is there are 2 feats. There's Godslayer, which is so the main point of D&D is if it bleeds, we can kill it. Godslayer allows you to make gods bleed. And I forget what the actual name of it, but I think it's like Planeswalker or something. And essentially it's like Eternal Walker or something like that. And what it does is after 24 hours of walking towards a specific point, you will arrive there no matter what. That transcends planes.
Oh
So
god.
you go from the plane of death back into the plane of the living after 24 hours of walking. So essentially it's just like, all right, I'm going to just, if I die, I'm going to come back. And if death tries to say anything about it, we're going to kill him.
So
That's
level
actually kind of
1
genius.
At level 1, you can come back for the death. You can also just travel between planes willy nilly.
Yep.
At level 1.
And
at
because he has
level 1.
Godslayer, like if death tries to stop him, what's he gonna do? Kill him again?
Yeah, exactly.
And then
There's
you can just
nothing we
fight
can
death
do
until
about
death
it.
eventually dies.
It's great. It's hilarious. It worked. And my friends were like, all right, we're not doing this again.
All right, Mason's banned from the group.
So yeah.
Mason min-maxed that like nobody's business.
Mason
I didn't
maxed
even
it at
mean to, I
level
just saw
2.
I didn't even mean to. I just saw it in the book and I was like, oh, this will be dumb. If this works how I think it does, this is going to
And
be
then-
hilarious. And then it did.
Oof.
What about you, Aaron? How'd you get started?
So a bunch of us like were planning on trying to start a D&D group during senior year of high school, which was 2016. We started talking around 2015, like beginning of senior year, and we didn't really start until that summer because that's when we could finally like figure out schedules and actually have time to do it. It was a 5e campaign, very from like straight with the book, except for the fact that we'd go in and throw in like unnecessary pulp culture references and stuff like that. But it was fun to do, and it was the DM's first campaign ever DMing, so it was interesting overall. Kind of a new experience for most of us.
Spoon,
My character was a rogue fighter.
that sounds
and
balanced.
Rogue fighter gnome. Yeah, she
Ooh.
actually didn't have a high AC or anything. It was very interesting.
Yeah, that's the thing about rogues is like, sure, you can like one-shot things, but if you don't one-shot them, you're gonna get hit.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're going to get hit hard.
You're gonna
There
get
are
messed up.
many times where I was down bleeding and stuff like that, and had to get revived. And it was
I
just-
mean, yeah,
it-
rogues generally, since you have high dexterity, you're gonna have decent AC because you can wear medium armor, which you add if you're wearing good medium armor, you can add your dexterity modifier to the armor. So sure,
Right.
AC maybe be 15, 16, something like that.
right.
Which is,
It was
yeah. And then your hit points are not good. That's the problem.
that
But
was
then-
mostly HP
Because you have
was just awful.
real low constitution. You have
Yeah, you're gonna have
Exactly.
low constitution, usually low strength as well.
Exactly, yeah.
You're basically a ranger
Um,
that has to fight in melee range at all times.
Yeah,
pretty much.
basically. And I actually just imagine the gnome carrying around a mace, because that was what I used.
A rogue with a mace.
Yes, a
okay.
rogue with a mace. I'd always shout before using the mace, maces to faces, basing it off of a Skyrim character that I built
Oh my
during a
god,
Of
Myriathon.
that
course.
was so
So-
good.
So that was basically my entire character in that campaign.
How would
So,
you like to sneak attack? I would like to smash him in the face with my
I would like to
mace.
smash them in the face.
You
yeah.
sneak up on him. What would you do? Hit him with a mace.
I'm gonna
He'll
hit him with
never
the
see
mace.
it coming.
in the face.
You can't
then-
react
but
to the
then
mace
rogue-
if your face is caved in.
You know, rogues also get access to stuff like uncanny dodge, where you can half the damage of any
Yeah.
attack as,
Yeah,
as a
and-
reaction.
Or dodge
You get
it.
Uncanny dodge is
evasion,
so good.
evasion, which allows you to take no damage when you succeed on a dexterity saving throw, which is
And half when you fail.
Almost every saving throw in the game that
Eh,
like is a damage throw.
AOE spells, dexterity
Yeah.
saving. Okay.
And then you can take like the lucky feat, which is also busted.
Oh, that was yeah.
That one's pretty good too.
There was a
Forgot
lot of
about
good
that.
things that came out of that was kind of busted, but I was down a lot, considering it was a new experience for me.
Yeah.
So
And now, Spoon, I know this is way back for you, but
Yeah,
you
I
might have
know,
to dig. But
let me get out.
brush off the
the old-
tomes.
Yeah, let me brush off the tones. Get out the old Polaroid photo album. And, you know.
I always meme
Um,
Spoon for being an old man because
Yeah, I know.
he is
I mean,
relative.
sure, relatively. Yeah, as I said, we started my senior year of college. We were like, group of friends in college who were always like into video games and a lot of other nerdy stuff. But we'd never tried D&D before, and I guess one of our friends picked it up over the summer and brought it to us. So we tried it. As I said, we played fourth edition, and as Mason was saying a little bit earlier, there was definitely some. Fourth edition was very different. I think fourth edition was like very much an experiment,
Yeah.
and there's some things about it that I actually really liked, and some things about it that I really didn't like. The thing about it that I really liked is it ran on this system they called the power system, where every character you basically had these. Your attacks weren't just I swing my weapon. Like you had certain things that each of your attacks like did something. Um, and you had your at will powers, which you could use, like it says, at will as much as you wanted. You had your encounter powers, which you could use once per encounter, and you had your daily powers, which you could use once per day. And that was kind of the crux of the system. Again, it's been a while. I don't remember exactly any specifics or how the abilities like worked, but I played a sword and board fighter my first campaign, and yeah, I mean, I'm trying to. I really don't remember what any of my powers specifically did. Um, but yeah, so I did that, and then um, we did a couple campaigns over the course of that year. So I played that, and then I played a paladin in the second one, and then we played this epic level campaign, which
Oh god.
I played a shaman in
Ooh.
that one, and that's where the by the way, for the title of the stream, Dungeons and Platinum Dragons, that's where that story comes
Care to
from.
hop right into what a platinum dragon is and what the meme is behind it, Spoon, for
Yeah,
enlighten everybody else, because I don't even know if Aaron knows 100%.
I don't know this. Yeah.
So despite yeah, so my friend Otto and I, we were both, we went to college together, and we, became really good friends. And we would always tell this joke in like my D&D sessions, and like, "Yo, do you want Spoon to send a platinum dragon on you?" And here's where that comes from. So the platinum dragon is actually a god in D&D. It's Bahamut, the platinum dragon.
Mhm.
And at the end of this epic level campaign, again, this campaign was like the worst of the ones that we played. It was like very, I don't know. It just wasn't a fun campaign. It wasn't well put together, and like the story wasn't interesting. But anyways, at the end, we all ended up having to fight the Platinum Dragon. I don't remember why. Probably because the DM forced us to,
Just
even though we didn't
because.
want to. Just because it was an epic level campaign, and he wanted to make a point that even though we were all level 30 and basically demigods, you can't actually beat a god. And the Platinum Dragon, he basically designed to counter every one of our characters' abilities. So my character, a shaman, I had this like spirit animal that I had with me, and it could like attack, and I could cast spells through it, and it had like 25 hit points or something like that, and I could cast within like 30 feet of it. Again, I don't remember the specifics, but basically he made the dragon have an aura that was the range that I could deploy it at, that did 25 damage when you stood in it. So it instantly killed my spirit animal, and I became absolutely useless in that fight. We had one of our character, Peel was playing a rogue who like would like counter every time he got attacked, so he was like this counter based rogue, and basically the dragon countered harder than
He
our rogue
countered his
did.
counters.
So yeah, he countered his counter, his counter, his counter. So he basically designed it so that the platinum dragon countered every single one of our characters, and it was just not a fun fight. And we got like a couple hours into it, and one of the people in the group was like, can we win this fight? And the DM was like, no. He's like, so can we just fast forward? Can we just get out of this?
And
This is stupid.
die.
So, yeah, that's the so yeah, the joke is like, oh, I'm gonna send a platinum dragon on you. Is like,
Primarily
you
whenever I make
can't.
a terrible pun or joke in one of our sessions, it's just like Platinum Dragon for Dash.
Yep. So that's where that comes from.
Wow.
So moving through, Mason, I see you've been hyping up the story like all week now. So what is this Can You Feel the Sunshine story? That
So background knowledge. If anyone has played the game Sonic R, you know the song Can You Feel the Sunshine. It is the first song in the game of Sonic R, which is not even really a Sonic game. But it's just this weird song that's like
everyone
I-
knows it.
everyone knows it. If you've been in the video game community, you know what Can You Feel the Sunshine is. And so last year I was playing an Azamar War Cleric in a 5e campaign with some friends back home. And the entire time I was just sitting there like the character's name was Solanus, and he was a god. He was a god of war that was sent down from heaven because he did something stupid, and his father sent him down and made him become mortal. That was his backstory. And at one point we were fighting a boss, and my character had just gotten the power to make his wings and do extra light damage. My friend was playing a revenant and had like almost died. So I go into berserker mode, essentially, turn on my wings, kill and I had 2 actions a turn somehow. I had something that allowed me to do that. So I started the song up as my turn started, and flew over to my friend, I flew over to the boss, hit him so he was like about to die, and then flew over to my friend that was like doing death saving throws, about to die, and right as I cast Spare the Dying on him, or I cast Revivify on him, it gets to the chorus singing, "Can you feel the sunshine? Does it brighten up
Oh,
your
man.
day?"
That's amazing though.
Oh, it was so funny. That is one of my favorite things that I have done in D&D ever, and my friends were so angry with me because it fits so well.
Oh, man. I mean, I have a really stupid story that Spoon will recognize from his campaign.
Is it this what appears to be the problem that you have on here?
Absolutely. So I'm playing this ranger, and we come across this village where like these orcs are raiding, and like the town's on fire, and like everybody's dead, and
Yeah, sounds about right.
we kill the orcs, and then we find this little girl who's hiding behind a cart, and like this is like 5 sessions in, by the way. I am completely green still. I'm pressing with this because it's really bad. But I just walk up to this person, and like, do you want to say something? Spoon's like, do you want to say something to her? I'm like, what appears to be the problem? Is what I said.
This
And,
little girl who has her house is on fire. She has watched
her
her
parents are
family
probably dead.
slaughtered by orcs. She is
Oh,
the only
man.
one alive. Dodge walks up and says,
And
"What appears to be the problem?"
What appears to be the problem? And just
the
Open your
whole
eyes.
group,
Just
group
died.
just exploded.
I the instant regret that just
I
Oh,
would
comes.
have actually
man.
have face planted, like face palmed, like no.
When you're like trying to be like the vocal leader of the party, You're bound to slip up eventually, and unfortunately, that was the one, and it was just
Why of all people were you the vocal leader though? if you were
because
the
that's what my
first...
character was.
Oh no.
It was the only
Because-
character that made sense to talk the most,
because
basically.
because Dodge
And it's
likes to
me.
talk.
And it's
I
me.
mean, you're telling me.
It's me, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Even though there was a bard in the party.
He didn't talk that much, because
Yeah, he did.
to be fair, Otto took a back seat to try to let other people,
Yeah,
I mean,
he
yeah,
did.
that's fair.
because we
He
had a
did.
bunch of newer people.
We had 3
Four?
brand new players
Well,
in
me,
that.
Blue, and Raffle
You,
were
Blue,
new.
and Raffle were all brand new.
Otto
And then,
wasn't.
Okay.
Otto
Sunboy
wasn't.
isn't.
Yeah.
And anyone else?
Well, there was
Bandit wasn't, yeah.
Abandon wasn't. Yeah, Abandon isn't. And then there was that that other guy Adam who dropped out after like one session. 'cause he wasn't, but yeah, whatever.
He was never on time.
Well, he didn't show up, but yeah. Anyways,
Do you have any
Uh,
fun D&D stories to share, Aaron? Of shenanigans?
There's this. I have a few. During my first campaign, there was this. We walked into like a room of goblins, apparently vaping and watching. What was it? It was like professional wrestling, but not like WWE kind of thing. Like they had their own ring of WWE going on, and it was so stupid. So we walked in, and you just hear this one going Randy Jackson, Macho Man, like kind of thing. And it was
Oh,
just going
yeah.
on and on. Oh yeah, like going on and on about that. And then at one point, the goblins were fighting each other, and we had to take the advantage of surprise. It was really interesting though. When we had to clean up the goblins, we had walked away with like 5 vapes, and it's really stupid.
I like to
But
loot the bodies. You find 3 vapes.
you find
just-
3 vapes. So
One of
like,
them is
like 20
strawberry
gold.
flavored.
Yeah, exactly.
Did your party name just immediately change to Vape Nation after that?
No, because we didn't do any of the vaping. We just threw them away.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like why? Also, my character, I had deemed an alcoholic, my first character. So I like a recovering alcoholic. So she would like disappear to meetings at certain times, and
Meetings.
yeah, there was meetings, quote unquote, And then there was this one time our party was chilling at the bar, and we had a monk who was basically One Punch Man. Like his whole build was
Yeah.
basically, yeah, he wouldn't carry any weapons or anything, like kind of like a monk, and would punch and kind like have rage. So it was an interesting
He's a barbarian monk.
Okay.
barbarian monk. Yep.
Okay,
God.
that makes sense.
And he had taken a like a drink and then rolled a 1 on Constitution.
Mhm.
So instantly drunk, this barbarian monk that can punch anyone away. And it was very interesting to watch him like role play through it because he did an amazing job. And I just kind of looked at him like after he recovered, and I was like, so you want to come to a meeting? And it just went on and on with the role play about that, and it was fun though. It was definitely a fun campaign. I wish we could have found the time to get back together, but college gets in the way.
Speaking of that, like, how ham do you guys like to go in terms of like the role play?
I generally I make a character and generally have like a slight backstory, and then I let the campaign flesh it out for me. I guess that's generally how my approach comes to it.
That's,
Yeah,
yeah.
I usually it depends for me. I like to write usually a pretty, I don't know, like not super detailed, but I like to give the DM something to work with my backstory, where there's like something happened or whatever. Usually give the DM something in my backstory that they can incorporate into the campaign itself. But you definitely like Mason said, you don't want to play like a super flat character that's only based on their backstory. They should definitely evolve as the campaign goes on, as and the events of the campaign should influence the character.
And you decide how you really want to play the character as opposed to
Exactly.
like
Right.
playing itself
Yeah.
out for you.
Session one, like you may have an idea of how like you want to play the character from like your backstory, but like you don't know how you're gonna play the character until at least a few sessions in, and you really get a feel for the character, the party that you're dealing with, and then like obviously the events that are occurring. So
I feel like everybody in Abandon's campaign has known how I want to play Brad Bardley since the start.
That
It's yeah, you do a good
Um,
job.
I go pretty ham with that. Like I try a bit with my other ones, but they're pretty straightforward people. Whereas this one is way out there. So I'll go into this, but my favorite character that I've created, I guess, is this character Brad Bardley. As you can guess, he is a fighter. No, he's a bard. But I was tempted to make him something ridiculous like a barbarian and be like Bard Bardley, the barbarian. But
Yeah,
so he's this bard.
Brad Bardley
It's
is quite the
Brad
character.
Bardley, but
Yeah.
and I use an accent like this the entire time, and it is wonderful. It is great. It is great. You'll never see it, but the first session was the best because no one knew what to expect because I missed the first session that they were with again because apparently I have a knack for that with D&D, but I join in and it's just it's a wonderful time of it fits me as a person as well as fitting the character of always wanting to talk and be the center of attention and also being a
Yeah.
money grubbing hoarder
Mhm.
and
And also making fun of your shortness is enjoyable.
I'm sure it is because it doesn't happen in real life.
Well, like my character in that campaign, I remember having to deal with 2 sessions of just being the absolute angstiest teenager.
Your character is an angsty teen.
Well,
She
she's
is.
she's moving on from that a little bit,
She
having
still
to be
kinda is.
disowned. Yeah, she still kind of is, but having to be disowned by her family and stuff like that. She's having to basically grow up a little bit, but it's taking some time, and she started out as this racist nobility, and when she ran into Brad, he
Oh
instantly
boy.
she was like, "Oh, what is this peasant? Like, what is this short little peasant going on here?" kind of thing. Um, and it's an interesting time playing characters like that because I'm nothing like that.
Same.
But it's enjoyable. I need to do some out there role plays, kind of like Brad,
That's
but
why
I haven't written one yet.
when I was designing him, I was talking to Abandon about it, and it was like I want to do something ridiculous, but also that kind of fits into like his campaign because he put a lot of work into the background of it.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, well, I want him to be like from somewhere far away that this would fit with this kind of an accent. And he's like, good luck. So I basically tried to make up my own continent to the world to add to it to fit kind of my backstory. But
Right.
yeah,
And that was interesting. I remember doing a Pathfinder campaign that was almost completely homebrew besides the Pathfinder stats. And what my DM did was he put us on like an airship, kind of like, like what's that? It's like a punk, whatever, steampunk is what I'm thinking of, kind of like a steampunk kind of theme. And on that airship was a club. And my character being this completely like straight face character for like just came from a war kind of thing. She's a fighter with chaotic neutral, so she just does whatever the hell she wants kind of thing. And she walks into this club, instantly sees everything, and just nopes out of there, but the door closes behind her, so she's like, crap. um and in the middle, it's kind of like a gentleman's club. In the middle of this club, this thing is like mesmerizing all the people around her, and this thing like tries to mesmerize me, and I'm just like doing like the get behind me statement kind of crossing, and being like, I'm straight, like constantly just saying things like that, to the point where this entire thing became like a side quest, where we had to defeat her, because she had kidnapped one of the party members. um
oh,
yeah, she had kidnapped one of the party members, and it was like a friend, one of my friends and I had to like go in there and basically find a way to defeat her, obviously, and get the party member back. But my door my character like kicking doors down, and that was a whole thing too. I think I busted down like 2 steel doors,
Good,
and
because
and
screw
3
doors.
exactly, and 3 wooden doors within that campaign.
Kept a tally.
Yeah, I kept a tally, but it was like whether or not it was unlocked or not. No, I would just kick it down, just enjoy it.
I mean, speaking of kidnapping party members, I remember in Spoon's campaign, if you want to elaborate on this, we kind of just lost a party member because he decided so from the start.
Oh,
With what was his original name? I can't remember. He's now Sunboy, but
Oh, Steve the Holy.
Steve the Holy. Oh my God,
Oh my.
he was
Half
not
orc-
very holy.
half orc cleric.
Yeah. But you want to elaborate on that the plot twist you put into us, Spoon, with that one?
Sure. I mean, so it actually wasn't entirely my idea. The player who was playing Steve the Holy, he was kind of like, I mean, he was a cleric, but he was very like gung ho and would always, when the party was trying to be sneaky, he was just like, nope, I'm spawn an illusion in the middle of the place or
no, man.
something, and
Yeah.
just he
I'll just run
pretty
over
much.
these guards.
Yeah, and he just liked being really gung ho, and then he decided a few sessions in, then he was like, the way Steve's acting, it'd be cool if he was actually like evil, and he decided that he wanted to make Steve into a lich, and that he was actually a lich, disguised
Yikes.
himself as this ridiculous cleric, and that pretty much became the crux of the plot twist, and then um, the campaign went along for a while, and
About a
one of
year.
the players, Otto, who was playing the bard, not approached me, but messaged me one day and was like, "Yeah, I feel like it's kind of stagnant right now. People aren't that into it," and I kind of agreed with him. And he was like, "So how about we do this? Why don't you kill my character? Why don't you kill Gimbal?" And yeah, so we kind of put it into motion, and I sort of revealed the main villain as Steve the Holy is killed and replaced by uh this lich, and he also disintegrated Gimbal.
Oof.
So um
Th-
and yeah, unfortunately that campaign is probably I don't know if we'll actually ever continue on it. It's really on hold right now. I'm been pretty busy, and yeah, I just wasn't sure where to go with it and how motivated the players were to continue as well. So I was kind of feeling iffy on it. But anyways,
that actually kind of reminds me of um, something that happened with the same character that Can You Feel the Sunshine came from. So like the big twist of that campaign was essentially that I ended up talking with my DM because we were like everyone was very like we were getting sick of a certain character because it was always like everything about all of the quests revolved around him, and
oh
like we
man,
couldn't
not
really.
not
Uh,
not the main character syndrome that
Yeah, it was
that
main
shouldn't
character
that
syndrome,
should
and
not happen in
yeah, a DM should never be, picking favorites and stuff like that. It's just
and
not.
he wasn't trying to, but just the way that the character played his character, he felt like it just forced us into doing that.
hmm
And my character had a lot of issues with his, because he was a cleric, and that guy was playing a revenant, aka an undead, and clerics and undead don't really mesh well together.
Nope.
So I approached my DM, and I was looking through the deity list, and essentially we ended up making my character change a little backstory, and basically he lost his memory when he came down, and in fact wasn't actually like a light god or whatever that lost his status. He was Sargonus, the god of vengeance and fire. That is a lawful evil war god.
Oh,
And my character, after fighting in a war, like with the party, remembers everything, gains all his powers back, and immediately goes, All right, guys, how about this? I like you guys. You've helped me quite a bit. If you come with me, I won't kill you. But if you don't, I'll kill you right here where you stand. And most of the party went, yeah, that sounds cool. We're all basically evil anyways. And then the Revenant went, nah.
The
And
Revenant of all people.
the Revenant of all people
Not the cleric.
doesn't go with the God of Vengeance, who is the entire reason why he is existing at that point, because Revenants are born out of a desire for revenge.
Yeah.
Right.
And my character just straight up killed him, and then we went on with our day.
I killed him and went on with my day.
I smited
Yeah,
him,
literally
and then
that's
that was the
what
game.
Have on. Yep.
That guy was kind of ticked at me like afterwards, but it was just like, well, I was following what my character would do, and my DM went along with it, so sorry.
It worked.
So
Yeah.
I have like how do I phrase this? DMing wise, like how is it for you guys? Like is it like a lot of work to manage? Is it like something that you like doing, you don't like doing? I've never actually done any DM work.
I really enjoy the act of DMing. The preparation beforehand I do not enjoy as much. Yeah, it can be a lot of work. It depends, I think. And there are very people, depending on the person, they DM very different ways. Some people like to plan out their whole story and kind of run a story driven campaign where you have it all planned in advance. Some people like to do more, I guess, character driven campaigns. That's how I would describe probably Matt Mercer and the Critical Role. He makes really good characters and really cool world, and kind of goes from there. He plans beforehand, but a lot of the times he rolls with the punches. I tend to I enjoy making fun and challenging combats. I've been trying to get better about doing characters and story, but and then I tend to plan only one or a couple sessions in advance at the very most. So I mostly roll with the punches and see what the party wants to do and where they want to go. I have a general idea of the world and the where I want the story to go, but I kind of, as I said, roll with the punches as they come along.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
definitely.
DMing's a lot of fun in my opinion, and very very rewarding. Also, if you feel like you've done a good job and your players have fun. If you have good players, they always have fun, even if it's not a particularly inspired session, which I've certainly had before. So yeah.
I think you did some of the best jobs I've seen in my campaigns of balancing combat. Not only that, but balancing homebrewed enemies. In a sense of you had to make up a lot of bosses based off you had source material for them, so you knew what you wanted to do, but balancing out damage wise, health wise to make it a balanced combat for a pretty large campaign of 5-6 people is pretty impressive from what I've seen. It's really easy for combats to tip one way or the other, where it's either too easy and you'll plow through it and it's no big deal, or it's too hard and everyone's on their last limb. The only one that we
Yeah,
ran into was that one combat where everybody almost died, the fourth session.
yeah, no, yeah, that one was a little weird.
High AC at level 2 was not
Yeah,
fun.
you guys also kind of got ambushed.
Mhm.
So you were right next to a couple of melee enemies, and yeah, you were screwed.
For
Oof,
reference,
yeah.
our barbarian went down without getting to rage on turn 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
had an armor class of 15
Mm,
at level 2.
No, it was 17 or 18.
Oh yeah,
There were
that's right.
the living armor enemies.
Oh
that-
yeah,
they're
living armor.
CR1s or something like that. They're
They are
pretty
the
weak,
hardest CR1 enemy.
but yeah, their AC is it's 18, or so it's okay, have fun hitting these guys at level 1.
It's do you have a ranger? No? Okay, you're screwed.
Even then, it was in a tight room, so I couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
And they have
and-
physical
that's rough.
resistance.
and
Yeah.
an enemy spawned right next to him as the combat started. So,
So was it constantly flanking, or was it
It's more so just there were so many of them, and they had such high AC that once your
I-
barbarian goes down, your tank goes down, and you have a ranger and
everything's
a
Yeah.
the party
paladin.
was because the way it was designed is it was kind of it was like a puzzle, and there were these armors around the room, and if they kind of, if they solved the puzzle incorrectly, then the armors would activate, and there were a couple of skeletons that popped out as well. So the party was kind of scattered across the room in solving the puzzle, and then the solution was put in incorrectly, and all the armors came to life, and yeah, it was just a mess.
I
Like,
gotcha.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, but other than that, you do a really good job balancing combat. That was a bad example, but
yeah,
for,
no, that one again, like the surprise and kind of the layout was kind of bad. Yeah, no, I very much enjoyed designing combat and balancing combat, and the way I look at it is with combat and with my campaigns in general, I like I've never, in all the campaigns I've played, I've never had a unintentional death of a player character, and I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's something I would actually like to experience, to be honest.
I think it depends on
Um,
what you're looking for in a campaign as well, in that
but
sense. But go ahead and finish.
generally, with like my campaign and my combats, I like to balance it. Where like the fear of death is always there, but I generally don't want to kill my players. But it has to be there. The fear has to be there, where it's like challenging. It's like, man, we might actually lose this. We might all die here, and then they
We've
pull
had
it out
those.
in the end.
Mhm.
So
I would say it's a sense of like say a player character gets knocked down in like a boss fight, right? Does that boss or do those enemies continue attacking that player until they are dead? And that comes with the decision of, is it the right decision for the boss to do so?
yeah.
Or is it just in there?
How intelligent is the boss? Do they realize that, like, when he knocks you down and he's like, all right, he's done, it's fine, and then you keep getting back up? Does he realize, like, oh shit, I better like kill the healers or actually kill this person while they're down? Like,
Yep. Which it is a DM call and it is a in combat call, because at the same time, that's on the player characters to keep that player up so that he's not at the point where he'll get killed in one turn or whatever, unless it's like a many enemy type fight kind of thing. But that's, again, it's up to the DM's discretion, I'd say, and
Mhm.
generally like how your player characters would be with it, I guess. Because in my sense, like if any of my characters died, it's like it happens, and I know that's like a threat that you should be aware of
yeah,
in the game, and you should be playing accordingly.
yeah.
But
It has to be, as I said, it has to be part of the game. It has to be at the very least a threat. But I actually would, and I'm kind of waiting, and this is including games I've DM'd and games that I have played in. I have never had a player character die um
Without you meaning to.
unintentionally, like not story related. Actually, that's not quite true. We had, and this in my college group when we were playing, this was the first time I ever DM'd, and this was like near the end of the year, so we didn't get anywhere near finishing this campaign. But we had a couple of players who didn't quite get along, and one of the players, they got caught in a situation where they were kind of like trapped in an enemy base, and they were trying to run away, but one of the characters was like really deep, and the rest, or one of the characters in particular, was worried that if he got captured he would kind of like spill the beans, so the one player character decided to shoot the other player character and kill them. And
oh, so it's like The Walking Dead,
it
where he
was
just
it was
shoots
it
the
was,
guy in
it
the
was a
leg.
total, like, it was a total, yeah, and there was some salt after that session.
It was a
yeah.
case
It
of
was
it was a case of
bad.
I don't have to run
Everyone would be
faster than
salty.
it was a case of I don't have to run the fastest. I just have to run faster than you.
because
Yeah.
because the
Oh
player who shot
god.
him actually burned, like, he burned, again, this was 4th edition, so he burned one of his encounter powers that allowed him to like attack a second time or something like that,
Oh
and he
my
shot the
god.
guy twice while he was on the ground to finish him off.
Oh!
Oh, it was so bad.
He made
Oh,
sure that man
oh,
was dead.
oh man,
Ouch.
friendships were hurt that day.
Oh
Like, let
yeah,
me
I'd
tell
be
you.
angry.
Why play Mario Party when you can just play D&D?
Oh my god, that would be the greatest, most terrible thing to ever. Like, imagine being in like the room or like in the call when that happens. Like, you don't know whether to laugh, cry, or be super pissed, or somewhere in between.
all,
the guys
all
whose
of the emotions.
the
at
guy
once.
whose character was killed was super pissed.
What about like the
Oh,
rest
I
of the
mean,
man.
party
yeah,
where they're
that's
just like, oh
totally
my
fair.
god?
God,
And,
yeah.
and as DM and my first time DMing, I didn't know what to do. I was like I really shouldn't let him do this, because like generally, like, in combat you shouldn't be shooting your teammates, but then at the same time in
It made
D&D
sense.
you like you don't want to tell a player like, no, you can't do that. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things as a DM where it's really tough call. And again, this was my first time DMing. It wasn't the first session, but it was, I don't know, 4 or 5 sessions in or something
Oh,
like
that's so
that.
early.
And yeah, it was
If that
bad. That
if that's like 4, like he had to have been like chaotic neutral, right? Or at least like
uh
true neutral. There's no way he was a
yeah,
good
well,
character.
no, yeah, this was actually okay. This was like a mecha or like Gundam based campaign.
Of
So
course it was.
he was Hero Yui, who is pretty neutral. So yeah,
Oh
Gotcha.
man, that would be like, ah,
yeah, that was rough. And I'm not sure we actually played that campaign again after that session. So
Yeah,
that kind of
that does generally put a damper on things.
Yeah. Crazy.
Hey guys, so how's the new character design going, huh?
yeah. So that
Oh wow.
So yeah, also yeah, as DM, unless you have like a planned story moment, like Mason was describing earlier, where like a certain character is going to betray the party, I generally would not allow like attacking your party members. Like
Mhm.
just not, just there's just salt to be had in that, like in that situation. Like
I've done it.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
didn't
but
do it
yeah,
because I wanted to do it, but rather because my character would do it. But
yeah. Going back to the original question was just about DMing. I think DMing is uh a lot of fun, as I said, and I really like. I actually prefer it to playing. I like playing a lot, and I definitely like doing both. But I do I like
oh,
DMing more than I like
huh,
playing.
really?
I am actually the opposite. I DM'd I've DM'd twice. I DM'd a one shot, which actually went relatively well. I DM'd that on vacation with friends last summer. And then I DM'd my own campaign last semester, and that did not go well. Um, one shots are a lot easier to do in that you don't have, like, you get the base work for what your world is going to be like, what you want them to do, you have your goal for them, and that's all. It's a bit harder when you're in school and you're doing that week after week after week.
Yeah,
And
sure.
also when you have player when you do homebrew rules like I did homebrew rules in just like I had a homebrew world and I had rules like if you crit you get max dice like for your first roll, like you just automatically get max and then you roll again for like the rest of your dice.
Okay, wow.
It just makes it so that crits actually mean something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there can definitely be some feels bad crits in 5e where like, like doesn't do as much damage as like a max damage roll on a
Brad
normal.
Bardley,
Oh man,
anytime.
I rolled a crit. 2 1s.
Oh man, I
Mhm.
rolled a crit. I am a bard who is attacking with a dagger.
Yep.
Okay, well,
Impactful
see,
8 damage.
Yep. Every
but
time.
bards though, you have the best spell in the game, and that is vicious mockery. So like,
Yes.
That
Yep.
is true.
Burn!
You are a
No, you
heathen and a
burn.
scoundrel. They take
You-
3
you-
damage of psychic damage
You have had some good like moments with that too.
with vicious mockery.
Just mockery, yelling at the enemies.
He just
and
kind of
them being
turns
like,
at you and
"Oh,
goes, "What the heck?"
what the heck?" Yeah.
but it resonates, and he takes 3 points of psychic damage.
Oh, that's
The best part is
It's like,
fantastic.
that is
"Oh,
like a
now I feel
bonus
bad."
action. You can make them feel bad with the bonus action.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
vicious mockery kills are the greatest.
there was a
Oh
there was a
god.
combat we had where we're in this corridor and I'm literally running in circles from this guy because I'm essentially out of spells and just shouting at him with vicious mockery because I had like 5 more movement than he did. So I'm just like running in a circle from a guy while my party chases him down and just yelling slurs at him
Oh man.
as this short little gnomish bard. And
That's
in that
fantastic.
accent too, by the way. Get away! Get
Oh,
back!
that's,
It's amazing.
Brad
oh, that
Bardley
sounds
is a
Really well
is
done.
the
Yeah.
character that I will reuse if I ever have to play a bard in another campaign and I'm not feeling creative
mhm.
because it's really easy and really fun. But so going into homebrew, I guess last thing we can kind of talk about is some of the homebrew stuff or even some of the newer stuff in Xanthasar's guide that you guys think is really cool. Like the monistic traditions, I think are really really good.
Yeah, I
Between
like all of the new monk subclasses are really cool in Xanathars for sure.
shout outs
I'm a
to the Way of the Drunken Master.
Ooh, yeah.
There are so many cool things. I really like the arcane archer fighter
Yep.
because that just who doesn't want to be Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Was that a
I
fighter
also
class?
yeah, it's a fighter class.
Yeah.
I'm also a big fan of all of the new ranger stuff and the new cleric stuff.
Yep.
Uh,
Trying to think of like I was not very impressed with the war wizard. I didn't like that one.
No,
Um,
I was not a fan. I'm never really a fan of wizard stuff, anyways. But I just don't like the class where you actually have to use intelligence for once.
I'm
I like
just
seeing meme classes like the way that was a
the way
class
of
that
the
I
way.
saw recently.
do it.
Yeah, the way of the way.
Oh, that is so good. I was tempted to. I have a level 3 monk that I had to choose a monastic tradition for this week, for today
Oh
actually.
man.
And I
Yeah.
was torn between three things: the way of the drunken fist, the way of Dewey, and I eventually went with the way of the soul, the sun soul,
Oh yeah, yeah.
because
Yeah,
I plan on crafting him to be more of a praise the sun monk, and
Yep.
it's gonna be
Oh,
wonderful. Who shoots
That's
ki
amazing.
blast because he's literally a Dragon Ball Z fighter, and
I really want to try an Oath of
it's
Conquest
fun.
paladin.
I was just about to bring that up.
What level is that?
Uh,
It's
it's you choose your oath at level 1.
Aw.
well, you
Um,
technically don't get to multi-class until 3rd level, but yeah, you should actually choose your oath at level 1.
yeah. Um, I just love the fact that you become like their level 20 or their level 20 thing is you just become a god for
You
like
should
a
talk to
minute.
Otto about switching if you really want to.
No, I mean it wouldn't make no, it would not make no. The Oath of Conquest is like an evil. You would pretty much have to be
Oh.
evil to play
You're
Oath of
almost
Conquest.
you are
Like
at the very least
Oh,
you
that's
are
right.
chaotic neutral.
yeah,
for most.
chaotic. Yeah, you would have to be. Yeah, as he said, at the very least chaotic control. This is like
If you really want to play it like an interesting way, you could do lawful evil
yeah.
and just become
That's the
Xander
one. That's
from.
the one that makes the most sense because Oath of Conquest is all about like again like conquest, domination, like
You become
tyranny. It's
Xander from Fire Emblem Fates.
yeah. I mean, it's like being a dictator basically. It's like
Yeah,
That's for an evil campaign.
yeah, or just an
it's
evil character in general. Yeah. I
Mhm.
actually don't like the other paladin in Xanathars. It just seems really lame and
I don't even
boring.
remember what it is.
It's the Oath of Redemption.
Oh
It's the one
yeah,
where like violence is a last resort. You like don't
you're
want to hurt things ever. It's
you're a
so
life cleric playing a paladin.
yeah. It's I mean, I think it would be interesting to see role played, but like I wouldn't want to do it. It just doesn't seem
Exactly.
Basically, you're
fun. It's
Braum.
like
You're Braum from League of Legends. You
eh,
just have a giant shield and you're protecting everybody.
yeah.
Even
Yeah.
then, yeah. Personally, I'm a big fan of it's it's something that's just in the normal game, but they also have Hexblade for it, but the Blade Lock.
Hmm.
I'm a huge fan of playing a fiend based Blade Lock because you never die.
Yeah.
I I feel like it's just a better version of the Eldritch Knight for fighters. I'm a big
Yeah,
fan.
the actually the I mean I've never played it or seen it played, but the like the Arcane Trickster and the Eldritch Knight always seemed underwhelming to me. I was like,
They
yeah, these
are.
just don't seem very good. It's like
What is a blade lock?
So a blade lock is it's a Pact of the Blade warlock. So first two levels you're just like a standard warlock essentially. But at third level you take Pact of the Blade, which allows you to summon a weapon from essentially a pocket plane, and you are automatically proficient with whatever weapon you choose, and you can pull out literally any weapon you want.
Oh,
That's
What
neat.
you end up doing is you become the party's main damage dealer and a tank because you can take mage armor as a like an at will thing.
oh,
yeah.
that's good.
That's pretty neat. Yeah.
It's really fun to play because if you're playing as a fiend based one, you choose your like patron. If you're a patron of the fiend, whenever you reduce something to 0 hit points, you gain temporary HP equal to your charisma modifier plus your warlock level. So whenever
Yeah.
you kill something, you're getting like 8 HP back, and it's really hard to hit you. So you just keep killing stuff, and they can't ever kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awful.
And they
Oh,
added
man.
the hex
Pretty good though.
blade.
Yeah.
The
It
hex
sounds like
blade patron.
sounds like
for example.
Archer from Fate Zero, just summoning weapons from nowhere.
Yeah.
That's
Casual.
Yeah.
pretty swag.
The other thing about it is like you don't even have to have high strength or dexterity because you use your charisma for your attack and damage rolls
What?
for your
No,
weapon attack. Oh no.
no, not You can get that as a You can get that as an
Okay,
invocation.
I'm pretty sure Hexblade gets that like for free.
Hexblade gets that, yeah.
Okay, not Pact of the Blade, but yeah. Okay.
But it is something you can take to make your charisma modifier your attack, so you're a charisma
Yeah. So
charisma
you don't
warlock
you don't
that
even
uses
need to have good
blades.
strength or like
Yeah, so you can just put everything into your charisma mod, and it's just broken.
You're basically like a bard who can do everything.
Oh yeah.
yeah, warlocks actually I think are a really cool class. I don't see it played that much, but I think it's cool.
I love playing warlocks. They're so much fun because they're just like a fighter that also uses magic and isn't an eldritch knight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the problems I think I ran into when playing the first campaign is when you're playing a ranger, everything is very linear.
Yeah.
In a sense of,
Yeah.
what do you do in combat? I shoot an arrow with sharpshooter, and I
Yeah.
roll dice.
I hunters
it's-
mark that
yeah.
thing. And
I
shoot
hunters
an
mark
arrow.
that thing. I Colossus Slayer that. I would like to sharpshooter. Those are your
Yeah.
options.
Like kind of I guess going back to what I was saying earlier about what I liked about 4th edition that um is like that the power system that I was talking about earlier and like 5th edition the weapon classes especially like barbarian like you really don't do anything except like hit things with your big sword like
Yeah. They really simplified everything for 5th edition.
which is good in a way. It helps people get into it, and I think, and it's just nice. But like the cool things about the power system is it always felt like you were doing something with your abilities instead of just like swinging your sword.
And
Yeah.
I do feel that a lot of people really got into D&D after 5e was kind of released. Like they just
Oh
realized
yeah,
that it
definitely.
is something that they can understand now. Because
Mm.
you when you thought of 4th edition and
3.5.
Pathfinder 3.5, you know, all of that people were thinking, okay, they're just a bunch of nerds who think of stats all the time. But
Yeah.
5e comes out and it's like, okay, this makes sense to me now. So
Yeah, it's not Mathfinder anymore. It's
exactly, yeah.
To Mathfinder.
It's what people call it because there's so many modifiers.
There is a lot of modifications.
I just
and stuff
love
like
being
that, so-
rewarded for creativity, right? And I love being open to
Yeah.
be able to be creative, especially in combat, but even in like diplomatic situations and things like that. When gathering information or bartering or things like that, I love being rewarded for being creative at things. Like for the longest time in one of our campaigns with Brad Bardley, I don't have very many combat stats because even though I'm College of Lore, I'm not level 5 yet or level 6, so I don't have access to my fireball yet.
You're
Yeah.
getting there. Yeah.
Close.
You're close.
Soon.
Oh,
So
oh,
close.
Fireball.
Literally one session to get fireball.
Oh,
But
Fireball,
PM,
why are you so
yeah.
broken?
oh man,
Oh,
8d6.
it's one of the stupidest 3rd level spells in the
I'd
game.
like to
aside
cast
from
fireball.
Counterspell.
That'll be 8d6. He made
Yeah,
a save. Fine,
Counterspell's pretty
46.
dumb.
I'll probably be taking that as well. But
I-
but as a bard who did not have very many combat spells at level 1 and 2, or 3 or 4 or 5, and is also a bard, combat is very tedious. So I'm trying to be creative, and for about 3 sessions I was trying to just hit something with a dagger so I could cast heat metal on the dagger and be creative. But it's so hard to hit stuff with no dex because I didn't run a dex bard because I'm bad. But I love being rewarded for creativity like that. Like our cleric, our druid used hold person, which is busted as well, by the way.
oh yeah.
And we
Yeah.
literally killed the boss that was a hard combat because he couldn't move for 3 turns. So we literally got auto crits for 3 turns.
Yeah, and you
Yep.
get advantage on all your attacks, and you auto crit if it's a melee attack. Great.
Yup.
Yeah, that's balanced.
And it's
Yeah,
what, a
there-
3rd level spell?
No, that's a second. Hold
Second?
pulls is
Yeah.
second
That's
pull
second.
spell.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Crap's busted.
You also have to make sure he doesn't get attacked during those 3 turns. So.
I mean, it's one of those things where like it cannot work out. Like you can roll whole person and they can roll like an 18 and save against it,
If
and it
they're a
actually
boss with a
does
decent will
Right,
save,
yeah.
you're
nothing.
screwed. But
Yeah.
Like they can also roll like under a 10 and be paralyzed for 5 rounds and just get lit up.
Yup.
So,
Yeah.
oh man, I
Yeah,
love this game. But
yeah.
so Mason, you put down the Blood Hunter. What exactly is the Blood Hunter? Because I've seen it in
So
Taliesin is running it, but
yeah, it's a class that Matt Mercer himself actually made up. He's made up a few. The ones that I know
Gunslinger.
of personally are Gunslinger and Blood Hunter.
Yeah,
But
and
essentially,
Gunslinger is actually it's a fighter archetype.
that looks so
Yeah.
good. It looks so good.
It comes off fighter base, so you get the things from fighter.
Action
and then
surge.
it's a fighter subclass, so it's not a full class actually.
Wow.
so basically what you do is you lower your own max health to like do elemental damage. That's why it's called a blood hunter, because you're using your own blood. And it's just a neat way to do things, because you're able to have magic at level 1 that isn't like actual magic. It's like playing almost like a ranger, but more fighter-y.
Blood magic.
Yeah, I think it's a really neat class that I need to look more into.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the idea
Yeah,
of trading off health for damage is a really interesting thing that you don't see too often in D&D, if at all.
yeah,
It's definitely a twist on things.
yeah, there's really nothing that does it in D&D that I can think of, like a
Hmm.
blood mage or blood hunter or anything like that.
Any great homebrew things you guys have found before? I mean, that you have made or that you've had used in a campaign? I mean, Aaron, I could think of the flask of many drinks.
The flask of many drinks is a fantastic thing that gets us in trouble sometimes.
Oh, it's wonderful. Care
Uh,
to explain what that is?
Okay, so the glass of many drinks is this, like, I guess it's kind of in a flask of holding of sorts. Has it's a bottomless flask. But every swig is something different. So
Yeah.
Oh
it's an
boy. So
So
interesting.
It's Birdie Bots every flavor.
we have this
beans.
wonderful thing
Basically.
called drink roulette that we've made up as a game, where we'll just pour out like 5 drinks, and the DM will roll 5d100s and look up what it is and what they do. And they could be
That's
random
great.
things from it's a really fizzy drink that sat really well with you. It raises your charisma score by 2 for 24 hours or something insane. Or it could be
Mhm.
something like you're now really moody and an edgelord for 2 days. Which
That was a fun time.
which is a
yeah.
fun time because everyone just assumed that the female character was on her period, and it was hilarious.
Oh,
God.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, any other homebrew fun stuff that you guys can think of?
I mean, my college group that we've run just about all the campaigns we've run have been homebrew. So I could go on about this. Like I ran, as I mentioned, a Gundam based campaign that I started in college, and then we stopped that, and we were done. So, but when we started back up playing again on Roll20, so I kind of did the Gundam campaign again, and I would say that it was an interesting idea, but I don't think it works very well. It's cool for combat, but other than that, a lot of the other things don't work. Um, we have a friend right now who's doing like a Dragon Ball Z campaign, and I think that runs into a lot of the same problems that the gun did.
Everybody's Way of the Sun Monks.
Yeah, I mean everyone can fly, and you can like sense energy, and it just like trivializes a lot of things like from D&D. So, but that campaign's been a lot of fun. So yeah, I mean most of the campaigns that since, as I said, we started on 4th edition, so we kind of been running a hybrid like 4th, 5th edition thing where we still have like the power system for our attacks to make the characters a little more interesting, but then like pretty much everything else is 5th edition. So
Okay.
yeah, we've been doing that. I'm working on it more since the DBZ campaign's almost over and it's coming back around to my
Oh,
turn again to DM for that campaign. I'm gonna be running a straight 5th edition campaign for that group. So
nice.
yeah.
Nice.
Well, any advice you guys would give to people looking into D&D or new players?
Don't be afraid of the numbers. Just dive in, get into making your character and enjoy. Really, when you see all these numbers and the dice rolling and all of that at first hand, you're like, oh dear God, how am I going to be able to handle this? But once you get in and you think everything through, and don't be afraid to ask your DM, like, can I do this in a situation? But once you get in, you'll understand that this is something that you'll be diving your life into, and good luck. You're not going to see the light of day anymore.
You'll be obsessed. You'll be making characters for days. You'll be wishing you were a rogue when you're a ranger. Wishing you were a ranger
Yep.
when you were a rogue. No, but yeah. Go ahead.
If you want to be creative, and just play what you want to play. Like, if you see something that you like think would be, or if you even think of something that you would think would be really cool, chances are you can do it in D&D. So just try and find a way to do it, and there's definitely a way that you can.
Any final statements, Spoon?
Yeah, I'm gonna concur with what both Aaron and Mason said, and I would say, yeah, like don't be afraid. Just give it a shot. Just dive in. I know, like, a lot of people are really intimidated by the numbers, and actually, like, yeah, it looks very difficult and intimidating at first, but it's actually like really really simple, at least in my opinion. Like, there's all these numbers and all these skills, but most of it is like roll a die and add or subtract something from it, and that's about it. So, and yeah, and for people who are worried about the role playing aspect of it, also, yeah, don't worry about that either. Just I would honestly like suggest, if you're new to D&D and worried about the role playing, make a character that's like really similar to yourself, so that you don't really have to role play at all. You're just kind of playing yourself in a fantasy world, and you're probably a little more heroic or whatever than you usually would be in normal life. But um, that's what I did for my first character. I played a character who was like, yeah, he was basically me. I mean, he was an orc, but he was me. So
Wait, you mean you're not an orc?
no, yeah,
Thought I saw green
unfortunately,
skin when I met you.
yeah, no.
I mean, Otto's a
No.
whale, so that's confirmed.
That is
Yeah,
confirmed.
that is confirmed.
But yeah, I'd say just don't be afraid to not be yourself while also being yourself. And that makes no sense, but play
But it makes
D&D,
tons of
you'll
sense.
learn
Yeah,
it.
play
Yeah,
D&D.
play D&D, you'll understand. But
Yeah.
on that note, that's gonna do it for the night. Thanks everybody for stopping in. Thanks Mason and Spoon and Aaron for being here, as
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
And
Thanks for having me.
yeah, this is second episode of Myriacast. Be sure to catch us in 2 weeks, I believe. We'll probably be back. Don't know what it'll be about, but I'll figure something out. And we do have a date for the Myriathon. It'll be June 15th through the 18th. It's going to be the Myriathon Assist, raising money for the charity Direct Relief. So more details on the actual Myriathon Discord. Feel free to join us and check us out next time. So yeah, once again, thanks again everybody for stopping in, and have a good night.
Uh-huh. Bye-bye.
Bye now.